shown on the agenda that you all received. A few people haven't been able to turn up for various reasons, illness and things like that. But it doesn't matter, we're going to continue with the agenda as planned. So we start off with the speech competition, and we have two entrants for the speech competition. John Crawford, unfortunately, isn't here, but John Reynolds is going to do a speech off the top of his head, or from the back of his head, the second one. And we have two judges, Carl and Dave D. And then we're going to go into the evaluation competition, target speech, Brian. And then the judges, we've got two judges to judge the speech competition. Because we're doing the speech competition and the evaluation competition on the same night, Carl tried to intertwine it very cleverly so that we could do them both and have the judges judging while the evaluators were listening to Brian's speech and all that. Then you go for a break and the evaluation continues after the break and the speech is before the break. Because there's not so many people here, we'll try and do the speeches before the break, then judge them and then come back in with the winners and then have the break. I think that's the best way to use it. And after the break, you can have Brian do the target speech, and then everyone can go straight into doing their evaluations. I'll explain it later, but I worked it all out before coming here.
In other words, all that effort was put in.
No, using your template. Okay. No, your things are still there in black. See, look, Carl. Your things I just inserted.
I was going to say there's more red than black.
No, and it's all crossed out anyway. So. Forget it, I'll just do it as we go along.
Make it up.
We've never made it as we've gone along before, have we? See us first. Okay, so we start off with the speech competition, and the two entrants we have are John Reynolds and Brian Barber. John's speech is going to be a factual speech. I'll give you the information about it later. And Brian is a historical factual speech. In the speech competition, you have to look at different criteria, and you're marked on. Presentation gets 40% of the marks, the confidence and the way the speaker presents it, and gestures and things like that. 30% of the marks are for the content, was a suitable choice of subjects, original ideas, minimal use of narrative and anecdotes, no copying off anybody else's speeches, beginning, middle, end. And then the 30% for the overall impression of the speech. Was it entertaining, rapport with the audience, just general things about the speech. So that's it. I've got some markers, speech marking sheets for the judges, one each, and there's some spares if anybody in the audience wants to have one just to look at and try marking it themselves. It's practice in case you ever want to judge it later on. So we'll do that now. I'll give the two judges marking sheets first. And the judges for this are Carl and Dave D. There's a marking sheet, and in case of a tie, there's something called a Chief Judge Rank Order tally sheet. I'll leave it at the back. So you have one.
I've got one already, sorry.
You've got one already, okay. Dave?
I've got one.
If anybody else in the audience wants one, just do. You've got anybody not got one who wants one? I've got one here. I've got another one. Just so you know what the judges are doing. There you go.
Thank you.
I'll give you the Chief Judge tally sheet in case of time. I'm doing what the rules say. You have to do that in the rules. Right, the rules now say the speech has to be 6 to 8 minutes, and before you get started you have to say how long your speech is going to be. So the first speaker, we're going to have to draw lots for the first speaker. So I've got a load of little tickets here, and whoever draws the highest, draws number 1 goes first, and whoever draws number 2 goes second. So instead of putting them in a hat, I'm going to put them behind my back and toss to who goes first. Okay. In my head I've got numbers 1 to 2. So Yola,
Yes.
give it a number between 1 and 2. So John goes first. Left or right hand?
Left.
You're number 2. So Brian, you're number 1. So you speak first.
Okay. I have a modification to my title.
Can you give me a number
I have a modification to my title.
One and a
Okay.
half.
A lot of faffing around, isn't it? But never mind. That's a short version of what we do with more people there. So the first speaker is Brian. After all that. And Brian's speech is The Witchfinder General, and it's historical, factual. How long do you think you're going to take?
8 minutes.
8 minutes. So timekeeper, can you do maybe lights on 6, green?
You've got to do the
So I've got the official ones
The official
now.
numbers.
I've got 5, 6, 7, right on to 8.
Okay, fine. Go with that.
So are all the competition is between 6 and 8 minutes, or does it have to be 8 minutes?
No, it's between 6 and 8 minutes. is
There's
competition.
no time penalty, I don't think.
No, there's no time penalty.
You only do more than 6 minutes.
But yeah, as long as the lights are on.
Yeah. So we'll do that, then we'll do John's title after. So we're going to start off without further ado with Brian's speech, which is called The Witchfinder General. Right.